Welcome back to the channel today, guys. My name is Jeff Cordero, and we're down here at Barefoot Archery today, and I'm testing out some of the new flagship bows for 2022. Today, what I have in my hand here is the Ventum Pro 30. This is the Ventum Pro with some slight modifications to it, which in my opinion make this bow better than it was last year, and that one was good to shoot. First and foremost, we're gonna talk about the HBX Pro Cam that Hoyt has put on these bows for this year. This is similar to the HBX cam. It draws similar, it feels similar, but it is slightly different, and unfortunately the modules that they made last year for the HBX cam will not fit on this HBX Pro Cam, and hopefully they can keep this cam system for a few years so that way it makes it easier on pro shops and guys like myself who like to work on their stuff from buying new modules. Some of the new features that they have integrated into this riser this year was, like the RX7 in the carbon version, they have integrated the Picatinny rail sight system into the riser itself. They have machined it out so it is already there. It actually looks really sleek and good, and it still gives you the two-hole options if you want to traditionally mount a sight on there. This one right here has the Fuse archery sight on it, and you can see how that Picatinny rail style mounts up, and it brings. The main focus for bow companies in the last few years is to bring everything in tighter and centered into the bow, which Hoyt has done that, Matthews has done that. By doing that and having all these inline systems, you can now run your quiver and everything closer and closer to the bow, and it starts, for a guy who shoots with his quiver on a lot, when the further you get that quiver out there and you start stacking arrows into it, it gets heavier and heavier and starts to cant your bow. You find yourself fighting it a lot, or you end up running a side rod to counteract that weight. But the closer they get everything into these bows, the more balanced and natural they will feel like shooting a bow that doesn't have a quiver on it. So I think that's awesome that they're integrating this technology into their risers going forward. The riser design, in my opinion, hasn't really changed too much, but it's still a really good looking riser. Let's get a few arrows through this thing and I'll let you know how I like it or how I feel about it. This right here in the module that is on it, it's going to be really short for my draw length. I'm 29 3/4. This module maxes out at 28. So going to have a little bit of a bent front arm shooting it, but being that it's the same cam system on the RX, the Redwrx models, I already know how that feels, so I'm excited to shoot this. So yeah, that feels really good. The draw cycle, being 30-inch axle to axle, the draw cycle is a tiny bit stiffer than if you were to get the 34-inch, but by no means is it a harsh draw cycle. It is a little stiff on the beginning, but the further back you get into the cycle, it seems to level and smooth out until it dumps over into the back wall. The back wall has that little bit of Hoyt squish that they've always had. Maybe not as bad as in years past, but for someone like me who shoots a hinge style release, I actually don't mind that at all. It helps me be dynamic through my shot. So go pull these arrows, get a few more shots on these, and we can go over a few more specs on this bow. So new for this year, Hoyt introduced their Vital Point grip, and I covered this when I did the RX7 models. This grip has a little bit more of a rubber texture than Hoyt grips had in the past. Hoyt has typically had a harder plastic grip, and personally I have not been a big fan of it, but I'm also not a big fan of many bow grips that companies come out with. I like to do my own thing, but this is actually a good grip, and I do like it. It's got a little tack to it and a little bit of rubber to it, so if it's something that you're looking for in a grip that is going to sit really well in your hand and not squirm around a lot, this is a grip that you're going to enjoy shooting a lot on this bow. It is a little thinner than the grip that I have on my RX4. That one seems to be a little boatier and a little wider, but this one is much more comfortable. This bow is really dead in the hand, and bow manufacturers, as of lately, have been making some really, really good shooting bows that absolutely dampen shock and vibration, especially felt. I know this has a sight put on it and a rest put on it, but this thing absorbs all the energy that it's putting into the arrow, and there is really no big aftershock or ping in your hand after the shot. So I do like that. I think it's going to be a really awesome and a really popular bow. If this is something you guys are interested in, this is a little bit cheaper than the carbon model, but you're getting almost all the exact same technology, maybe just a little bit of a weight penalty, but 30 inches axle to axle, it's not that tall of a bow. The weight penalty, in my opinion, is not that bad. If you guys are interested in shooting this bow right here or other ones like it, come on down to Barefoot Archery in Charlotte, North Carolina. Meet with Jesse and the guys. They'll get you set up in a bow that fits you, that's comfortable for you, and you'll enjoy shooting. Until next time, I'm Jeff Cordero, and we'll check you out in the next video.